The Coaching Hour with Boitumelo on Zoe Live Radio. www.zoeliveradio.co.za.
Good evening. Welcome to the Coaching Hour with Boitumelo. My name is Khensani Chauke, and tonight we'll be talking about moving forward. We need a way forward after having so many things that we did during the year, and companies now are planning team buildings, Christmas parties, families are planning getaways, they want to go on holiday and rest. And as we are coaches, we are here to help and know what is it that we need to do in order for us to have a better 2022. So tonight I have a special guest, and his name is Sam Tima, and he is from Commenta. He is an executive coach and who has his own coaching practice. He is a mentor. He is a coach. He is a leader. He does a lot of coaching, and he is in the studio tonight with us. Without any waste of time, I will introduce him to come and join me in the studio. Good evening, Coach, and how are you?
Good evening, Khensani. Good evening to your viewers and your listeners. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome, Coach. You are welcome to the show. So before we start with our conversation tonight, remember to invite all your friends. Have a pen and a paper, a pen and a journal, a pen and a notebook, and come and take some lessons as you will be planning 2022, and you need a way forward from where you are today and where you want to be next year. He's going to teach us and help us on goal settings. How can we achieve certain goals in our workplace? How can we achieve certain goals in our homes and in our social life? So, Coach Sam, kindly introduce yourself. Who is Sam and what does he do?
A very difficult question because I wouldn't know where to start. But let me start by what I do. I am executive coach, as you have rightfully so said. At the same time, I'm the CEO of my own organization called Commenta. We are a human capital, social capital management and leadership development consulting company with a major focus on coaching, mentoring, advisory, facilitation, networks, and a very famous program we call the Lekgotla network that we run on a monthly basis. I come from the corporate. I've been in corporate for many years. I started as a trainee, like everybody else started, but mine was very much within the German environment here in South Africa with the SA German Chamber of Commerce. I graduated from a famous program of the chamber called Commercial Advancement Training Scheme. Continued my studies with the University of South Africa after having transferred my studies from Wits University, and then went on to corporate and went to study and live in Germany. I did what they call Industriekaufmann, which is basically a corporate industrial business training, if I try to translate it. Studied German language diploma, did a corporate training program with Siemens, Lufthansa, Kinonagel. Came back in the country just after 1990 when South Africa was just experiencing the turn of things, and worked for Siemens. I worked for ABSA for 7 years, responsible for introducing young Black people into banking, moved on to Sasol, looking after diversity management inclusion. And then my last corporate life was with Motorola as a head of HR in Africa. And since 2009, I've been full-time at Comeza running this coaching practice. And we are an organization that brings coaches together and deploy coaches in companies as associates. Originally, I'm from Limpopo, from Jenfes in the Sekhukhune district. Grew up there, born and bred there, from a small village outside Jenfes called Muribani. And then, of course, my mom got married to the village of Malibong. So I regard the two villages around Jenfes as my home villages. But I'm a Mupedi from Mupedi land. That is me in short. I'm currently studying towards my master's in executive coaching with the Hart International Business School in the UK. Done the first year and getting ready for my accreditation, which I'll do next year in April with the European Mentors and Coaches Council and the Ashridge Coaching Center. But my main focus today, I guess, is to have a conversation with you around how do we get ready post these 2 difficult years. Hopefully 2022 will not be another one of those years of COVID. But we are in the middle of it. Perhaps we must learn to live, work, and exist with it. That's me in short. Try to summarize a very long background.
Wow, Coach. You are doing a lot. You have done a lot. But how do you do it all? Before we get into how do you do it all, I would like to know what motivated you to become a coach? And before you answer that one, what was your first job when you started working? What is it that you did?
My first job, I was studying at Vets, and I joined an organization called ISAC. It was an organization for economic sciences students. And I went to do some temp job during December time at Barclays then, before it became F&B and then became Barclays. And then became, Barclays came back second time as part of APS. But that was my first job. I don't know whether you will call it a job, but I think it was the first time I really got to be in an office. But the first real work was when I was a student of the SA German Training Services, doing a program that I've mentioned called Commercial Advancement Training Scheme, which was a program whereby once a week I will be at the college and 4 days I'm in the company, rotating from one department to another for a period of 2 years with a company called Management Dimek. It does not exist anymore. And that was the foundation of my career. And that is the type of work that really took me to further studies and work in Germany. And it was very structured. So it was a training on the job. It was a dual vocational training program. But it was really serious work, because there's no single department in a manufacturing concern that I have not experienced during that 2 years here, and then of course the 4 to 5 years in Germany.
Okay. I hear you. A very interesting background. So, Coach, tell us, how do you do it all? What motivated you to be a coach, and how do you do it all? Because you have done a lot of things. And
let's look at coaching as one of the many portfolios within the bigger scope of human capital development. And I look at coaching as one of the helping professions. The moment I came back from Germany and then rejoined Siemens here in South Africa, my then head of HR realized that I was very good in engaging with people, even though my training was in the business management space. I was administrator supporting technical people at Siemens. And then he will invite me to the commercial training department where I will offer training to the students. And then he suggested that perhaps I should move over to HR and head the commercial training at Siemens. And that was the beginning of my long journey in the human resources space. And that was really the realization for me that I was very good in engaging with people and facilitating learning and supporting the development of other colleagues. And little did I realize that this was really going to be this big. And somewhere when I was at APSA then, being responsible for the training program specifically for young Black professionals, I then realized that I love this specialization, either as a consultant or mentor. And coaching was emerging then in the 90s. It was really just starting to happen. And I remember attending my very first coaching programs then. And there were very few people, actually, we were one of the very few people that started it. I stopped halfway until I realized that I needed to take it to the next level. And in 2012, I then joined the coaching center, which is the institute that is run by Dr. Petty Pambalis in Cape Town. We had then a cohort that was based in Johannesburg, and I did my first postgraduate diploma in coaching with her, and then I knew that within this human capital space, if there's one area that I would like to take it to the highest level, was going to be in coaching. And I knew that I was going to take it further to the master's level, and hence I'm doing my master's now in executive coaching, and I'm practicing almost every day. Other things are addition to what I do, but coaching is really my bread and butter profession now. And I guess having spent so many years in corporate, hence I'm specializing in executive coaching. Always like taking me back to corporate every time I go and meet the executives in the post.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. And another thing from what you said, that coaching is your bread and butter, I've realized that so many coaches are struggling with having a proper coaching practice. How can you help them around that?
Thank you for asking that question, because that is probably when I finish my master's and then go to the next level, I would like to research that, because there's so many of our people that are talented that could become coaches and actually could establish enterprises in coaching. Because there's a saying that you have a coaching way of being in your behavior that already is there. And what you need to do is to qualify yourself in coaching with a proper qualification, credential yourself, and belong to a community of coaches. And if you really want to make it a business, then go further and establish enterprises. And that's what we have done. The moment I finished my postgraduate diploma of TCC in coaching, I took a decision that Comesa was going to become a home of coaches. And therefore, we put together infrastructure, we put together systems, and I always train young people as administrators of coaches. And we have coaches that are associates of us that are deployed at our clients. And we give them all support in terms of the logistics, in terms of we do business development, we find business, and we then deploy them as associates. We support them with the logistics, because we believe that they're better off doing what they are good at, which is coaching. But then through our commercial coaching enterprises, we give them a support that actually enriches their quality of service delivery in terms of coaching. And therefore, if people want that to be their focus, how I can help them is exactly that, coach them on how to run a coaching enterprise, because it has its own dynamics. And all they become part of us, and then they become part of this huge enterprise we are building, because we are just at the beginning of this great profession called coaching. The future is great.
Yeah, you sound like you love what you're doing, Coach. You really love what you're doing. Would you say?
It is my calling.
I wanted to ask, would you say that is it coaching? Is it your calling? Is the love for people and development that you have in you? I can hear it, that you are into development, into developing people. You have love for people, and you have a servant heart. And yeah, you just answered when you said coaching is your calling.
Because I didn't start loving people when I became a coach. I've loved people from my childhood. I have facilitated development of people. In fact, there's no one single company that I've worked for that I haven't produced people there. You can go to Siemens. There are big managers of companies that are my products at Siemens. You can go to ABSA. There's a lot of great bankers in South Africa, in the big four banks in South Africa, that I've touched them with my programs at ABSA. In fact, at ABSA, we started a program called Candidate Bank Technician, which was the program aimed at matriculants, graduates, black graduates from matric, that we brought into banking for the first time, that they became tellers. When I joined ABSA in 1995, you will battle to find a black teller behind the counter. Today, you're battling to find white tellers behind the counter. And it was those initiatives. In fact, that program was then handed over to the bank CETA as one of the very first internships that we had started with a friend of mine called, I think it was Frank, who ended up, I think, going to Bank CETA, and I think he's currently with the South African Revenue Services now. So if you then leave ABSA, you go to SASO. There are graduates of mine that were part of my accelerated leadership development program that I was running at SASO. You go to Motorola, you find technicians that I recruited from universities of technologies and brought them into Motorola and gave them careers. At Comesa, I mean, there's galore. There's just galore of young people that graduated from my program. So by the time I became a coach, it was natural that I will continue to the level where now I'm coaching executives. You know, it's such a beauty to coach a CEO and see the CEO flourishing because of your coaching interventions, but not because you've been best trained as a coach, but because you understand the impact of facilitating development of people, either as a coach, as a mentor, or as a trainer, or as an advisor.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's so powerful. So, Coach, are you running any internships currently from your organization? Do you have any internships that you're running?
We used to have, but COVID disorganized us. Every year at Comesa, you will find young people coming to learn to experience office for the first time. That has always been the culture of the organization. We have been running this organization since 1997. We a 24-year-old organization, and from 2009 we've been a commercial organization, and we've always been building it around development of young people and new entrants into the world of work. But what we are now doing, we run monthly get-togethers on Saturdays with professionals and young beginners, entrants, and we use the African Lekgotla methodology to facilitate the learning, and we find that you could almost call that an incubator of knowledge. And I will say that is much more impactful than me hiring 2 people and for a full 1 year. But we cover so many people through this dialogue, conversations, and then, of course, our ongoing streamings that we do to address various pertinent issues that are related to management and leadership development.
Oh, okay. And the internship was based on coaching, or as a whole, like they were doing office administration, or they were only, the focus
it was general business administration.
Okay.
Like I have been exposed to myself. They will do almost A to Z of keeping an office like this one functional. And then I will mentor them and make them be exposed to all various aspects of business, either at my organization or by interacting with my clients and bodies that we belong to.
Oh, all right. So the purpose is to equip them and empower them, or to prepare them for office environment. Do you have clients where you send them to start working, or you just prepare them and then they will decide where they want to go, areas they want to specialize?
Up to so far, our plan was always to keep them. We have never taken more than we needed. We have been running this organization with graduates, and we will keep them. I mean, I have young people that have spent 5 to 7 years with me that have gone on to do other things in the future. And of course, with our clients, we facilitated work integrated learning programs, internships and learnerships, but not from compliance point of view, from the actual learning on the job, the cultural integration. How do you deal with the learning on the job? As I indicated earlier on, that I'm the graduate of the dual vocational training program, which is really quite very famous in the German setup. And that has really laid the foundation for me to look at people from that perspective, that you have to be intentional to take people through all aspects of business, not a quick rush, but a process of capacitating people to become very good, solid administrators. And then, of course, right now, many of them, they get exposed to how to support coaches, because our biggest business is coach. How to support coaches administratively. They get exposed to how to schedule a full calendar for the full year program. How to make sure that clients are taken care of and coaches are taken care of. Invoices are issued, invoices are collected.
Okay, so do you also supply work?
We don't purposefully run internships. We bring young people in because we need them. We partner with clients to help them run their own schemes because we have the knowledge.
Oh, okay. So do you also have material and a system of approach in your organization while you're preparing them to work with other clients that you have?
Absolutely.
Do they use a system? Do they have a certain system?
Absolutely. We have a philosophy that there is there's nothing that is hidden away from the learners in Comesa. There is no special place that is reserved for certain category of people. If you become part of that, whether you are seeing work for the first time or not, you will support Seb and his engagement with the CEOs. Doesn't matter. Somebody will hold you until you are able to do it.
Sure. Coach, you're doing a wonderful work. So how important is it to plan as a coach?
Extremely important. December month in Comesa, we stop doing anything but planning. We plan a full year. I've always been lucky to have clients that will say they want to commit to 6 months to 12 months programs. Before I go on holiday, I want to make sure that I already know how my next year looks like. And I can tell you exactly how many hours I'm expected to spend on coaching in a month. And I think this, for me, is quite very important. I can tell you exactly how many hours I've coached since ever I've been coaching, because of the planning, because of the record keeping, because of reporting, because it's very, very important in coaching that the plan gets implemented and then becomes a record, because without that, it's very difficult for you to become a credentialed coach. The one requirement from coaches is they must be able to plan, they must be able to implement, and they must be able to report and produce a record of hours of coaching, because it's only on the basis of that you can be credentialed. If you are not able to do that, you can forget it. And therefore, coaching for us is the biggest part of our business model.
Okay, coach. So how do I plan as a coach? How do I plan a whole year calendar? How do I do it?
Well, it starts with a pipeline. You need to have a pipeline of clients that are going to receive your coaching service throughout the year. And you need to know each one of the clients, how many hours you have contracted with them, or you are planning to contract with. The starting point is a client. Once you have made those, if I have 10 clients, for argument's sake, and of the 10, 5 of them, they have contracted with me for 6 months. So I already know that the first 6 months, they have to be planned for. And if I have another 5 contracted for 12 months, that means in the first 6 months, I've got 10 clients that I need to coach for 2 hours minimum of 1 hour per month. So already I go into my calendar and I populate it. And then from there, I download it for each of my clients and I put it in a spreadsheet. And that forms part of the contract. And it's signed off on my calendar, it's signed off on the calendar of the client. Because if it's my calendar only that is populated, and the client's calendar is not populated and they've confirmed it, then we don't have actually a commitment. And this is quite very tricky, because sometimes people forget to negotiate this and seal them in, and then it becomes a problem. I cannot plan month in, month out to commit to hours. It needs to be in the contract of coaching that I sign off. Unless the client says that they're going to need coaching as and when they are in need, then it's a very tricky one. And that one you can't guarantee the availability. And in many cases, the fees for such type of arrangement are very high, because the risks are very high for you as a coach in terms of your capacity planning. So having done that, as I said, that it's built into a contract, and you are not guessing, because you can't sell the capacity that you don't have. I need to know that in which month do I have space for me to take additional clients. I'm talking about me, myself, as a coach. Of course, as I said, that there will be other coaches that coach under us as associates. For those, we also plan differently. They will also have their own calendars. They will also have their own spreadsheets that my office will then produce for them to also be contracted to the client and their coaches. So that is the approach we will follow, and that cuts across for all our other coaches.
So, coach, how long did it take you to build a sustainable clients? How long did it take you after you have completed your coaching course and building your Cometa organization and having sustainable clients and building momentum? How long did it take you to do that?
Fortunately, when I went to my coaching studies, I was already coaching, because, as I said, I had started the programs years ago even though I did not complete the first one, but I was already coaching. There was a time where coach clients were not very much forceful in terms of requiring you to produce official qualifications. So I started coaching the moment I was doing my studies. So after finishing my coaching, I never really had difficulty of making hours for my credentialing, and that was really a beautiful setup for me. But in terms of when I then went full-time and I left corporate in 2009, in terms of other services that we offer, I would say it takes you 2 to 3 years to really establish yourself as an authority in the industry to a point where clients will look for you. I know of coaches that take too long to be looked after by the clients because you have to prove yourself. But I didn't have that challenge. I think it was also because I've been quite very visible in the industry from my other type of involvement. Before I became an authority on human resources, I was quite active in organizations like Black Management Forum. So I've been quite very well groomed in that regards when it comes to management and leadership part of careers. So my name was quite visible out there, and I had the network that helped me to build my clientele.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, Coach, like today, as we said, we will like to know, from a lot of things that you have experienced in your workplace, how you have structured your company strategies and how your system are working for you and how you are able to accommodate interns to come and be equipped and empowered in your organization. You sound like someone who is organized, who has a proper a structure or a system that works for him for the whole year. So will you share with us how can we do to get to that level of being consistent in how we plan our stuff from a home base and from the office as a leader in an organization? And if you can, if you can have a look or listen to the news, many companies are still retrenching even today. They're still retrenching people. And you ask yourself, is it the vision of the company that is not working? Is it the mission of the company that is not working? Or is it the employees who are not productive? And you ask yourself a lot of things. What is it that is happening? Is the problem performance and all those things that we can come up with looking from the distance? So from your side, how can we do better? How can we do better and improve in our lives, like individuals and home-based parents, executive in the office, leadership, like everyone? How can we improve our lives and make sure that we are going to start 2022 in a clean slate and in a proper structure and planning and having a calendar on how to run our lives?
Absolutely, a very important question. It is a new beginning. We are living in changing times that we cannot stop. And I think this question that you are asking is very important because we can't sit back and be helpless. A lot depends on our own self-awareness, self-management. I think you have mentioned that I'm organized, I have systems, I have processes. Most of this really depends on my own character and my own mindset towards the things I want to do. And what I can say to people is that we need to look inward and understand that we have to deal with ourselves to be able to impact on the environment. So if you want to become a professional that really impacts on the change rather than change impacting itself on you, you need to take a precise decision as to what is it specifically that you want to do to better yourself and face the challenges. Now, the profession I'm in, which is coaching, is a very tough profession. It needs an organized person. It needs determination. It needs hard work because people consume your service directly. So it's not just your qualification in coaching that makes people want to be coached by you. It's the way you carry yourself, the way you organize yourself, and the way you position yourself. That means self-management, self-awareness, and then of course planning, as you stated. So it also goes deeper to say, what is really what you are all about? As Simon Sinek will say, what is your why? What do you exist for? What is your purpose? Richard Leider talks about purpose in life, your own personal purpose, before you can even interrogate the purpose of your own company. Because we are going into these companies, either our own, or the ones we work for, because we have something we want to fulfill in our lives. And these companies just become a platform for us to do that. But then when you get into this company, your purpose and the purpose of the company has to be aligned. Once that is done, and you understood then what this company is all about and what your offering is, it's now how do you feed yourself in the culture of the organization. Now, the culture of organization is actually probably made up of a number of things, and the first thing is its own purpose, which is probably defining the strategy of the organization. How are they planning to maneuver themselves out of this situation of COVID? Because right now, many organizations are repurposing themselves. The old strategies are thrown away. They are looking at surviving and probably benefiting from the new world of work and the new world order. And then you then also ask yourself is that, what are the opportunities that are there, and what do I bring in to help the organization to achieve those opportunities? And how will I know if I'm making impact? That is now the how. The how of the company, you need to be part of it. If they are clear in terms of how they are going to achieve their purpose, they will also be clear in terms of determining whether you are fitting in their culture and whether you are making a difference or not. And here, when we talk about difference, it's about, are you helping the company perform what it plans to perform? Do you have the skill sets and the competency that they require? And today, we are not talking about technical skill only, we're talking about many other things. So and this is a process that we can coach on. Your purpose, the purpose of your company, the alignment of the two, the passion that you bring into the organization, the culture of the organization, and the deliverables that the organization expects of you, and how do you measure them? And then of course, then putting together a plan. That to me is the type of language I will enter into when I do professional coaching or executive coaching with people. Once we have answered those, to put a plan together is very easy, because now we know that we have a purpose that's aligned with the company. We know what the company expects from us, and we know what we expect from the company, and they are tasks daily that has to be done. And those tasks are in the form of the pipeline that you put in your plan. And then hopefully you have other people called your managers and mentors that will hold you accountable, that you will have a conversation with them month in, month out to check whether you're still delivering what they're expecting you to deliver. And if there are gaps, then they can turn you to coaching, to training, to develop. Those are things that I will say that they will be the templates that I will use to engage in a conversation with people. Because sometimes people get given job specs and business plan, but they are not able to hold the conversations around these things because these things are too complex. Hence, coaches are required. Some of our work is nothing else but to make people understand the complexity that they are confronted with in the companies where they work.
Sure. Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to to be an executive coach and to be a coach that is consistent and a coach that is running a very sustainable company. And leaders, like companies, need a lot of people who are organized, who have self-awareness and self-development, because from what you said, it sounds like it starts with you as a person. You need to have self-management. If you can't manage yourself, it's going to be difficult to lead others. It's going to be difficult to manage other people around you. So, Coach, would you say that we as leaders, we failing in terms of planning? Do we fail to follow the planning part of the business, or do we fail into following the vision of the business?
I think leadership is the most difficult job I have ever really experienced. I've come across a lot of leaders who are not happy with themselves, but when you ask them, what is it that they are not happy about? They are not able to pin it down. And that the moment that it becomes the case, it tells me that they have probably not really clearly defined what they are about in their role, in their coaching journey. And they're probably just following what their companies have hired them for. And for me, that is the biggest mistake. The company must find you really knowing very well what is your mindset around leadership and what do you think the position of leadership brings to you. And before you worry about understanding what your company wants you to deliver, you need to worry about what is it that you think you are able to bring to the party? What is it that you think is expected of leaders in general? And then what specifics are there for your own company and where you are in your leadership development journey, so that you are able to know whether you're supposed to be setting the tone or you're supposed to be led by other leaders, guided by other leaders to achieve certain deliverables. Now, I've said that you need to start with yourself. That could also be very difficult. What about me that I must start with myself? For me, is one of the key things you need to look at is emotional capacity, especially in times we live in. If you don't have the emotional capacity in times we live in today, you are probably going to be overwhelmed by the dynamics and the complexity of the times we live in to start with, because you're going to have to deal with people who are actually looking up to you to give them inspiration. They are battling with the impact of COVID. They are battling with being able to work in virtual teams because all of the sudden people can no longer be together. They are battling with their own personal difficulties and the difficulties of the companies having to repurpose themselves. Structures have become flat now. People are having to now to be able to deal with technology platforms. So the stress levels of the people you lead already before even they come to your office is very high. And therefore, you need to look after yourself. You need to make sure that you have your emotional intelligence is highly developed, and you have clarity in terms of where do you need help. In fact, there's never been any time in our lifetime when coaching is so demanded like now. Coaches are so demanded right now, because the stress levels of leaders is very high. The stress levels of employees are very high. Companies, markets have shifted. Business is having to refocus. The economies of the world are not really doing as they're supposed to be doing well. So it is demanded of us to understand what are the issues that we are supposed to be mastering to help ourselves and to help our organizations. Now, after that, then it's really about playing your part as a leader and lead your organization and your people. So quite a huge difficult times, and we need to be ready. And your question is of how do we get ready for 2022? It's very, very relevant. We still don't know where we are going to be in terms of COVID, in terms of the challenges of climate. And I mean, we're talking about COVID, but the biggest challenges facing South Africa right now is the climate challenges that we have to respond to.
Yeah, that's so true.
Dependence on fossil fuels in terms as source of energies into renewables. A lot of organizations are having to think about that because that is almost like imposed to us by the markets of the world, and we can't postpone it. And technology platforms that comes with the 4IR.
That's so true. And you touched a very, very important subject when you spoke about emotional intelligence. How are we developing ourselves? Because emotional intelligence, it's also a skill that one can develop if you were not born with it. It's not everyone who is educated who has emotional intelligence. Because another thing that I've realized is they mix the two together, like emotional intelligence and intellectually. Doesn't mean if you are intellectually, then you have emotional intelligence. So it doesn't qualify you automatically that because I hold PhD, it means I have emotional intelligence. Because I'm a leader, I have emotional intelligence. It's a skill that you can develop. You can develop people around you so that you can have a very harmony. You can have a very good working environment that has harmony, love, peace in it, because of everyone will be having that skill of emotional intelligence, how to treat others, how to speak to others, and we will be eliminating offense because most of the people are currently attacked by offense. They take offense in everything because of the state of the emotions they come with when they come to the office, which it's so painful to see your co-workers not coping because of other issues from home. But because we also lack emotional intelligence, we add on the pain they're feeling. We also add on whatever that is happening in their lives. It's so important for leaders to upskill themselves and have the skill of emotional intelligence. It will help a lot in a working environment for you to understand your employees, for you to understand your team members. And I had to develop myself when it comes to that, so that I can be able to communicate effectively and in a good manner and in a very approachable manner to be able to consider somebody's feelings. So, Coach, I do agree with you when you mentioned the issue of emotional intelligence. And the other thing that I wanted to find out from you is regarding the coaching environment. And would you say now, since we're working from home, we're doing the online coaching, is it effective, online coaching, or do we still need to do face-to-face coaching, according to your opinion?
It is effective. However, I will always recommend that every now and then you do meet your coaches, your clients face-to-face, especially for instance, if you are taking up a new client, I will recommend that the chemistry session be face-to-face, because it's about you connecting with the client. It's about you understanding what are the issues that the client want the coaching to address. It's also about building the rapport between you and the person that you are going to be coaching, because coaching is about relationship. You can't coach somebody that you have failed to build relationship with them. Professional relationship. and having built rapport and having understood the perspective that they are coming into a coaching relationship with. So that is very important. And also maybe the coaching endings. We always call the last coaching session called the coaching endings, when you close the coaching relationship because you have completed the contractual program that you have entered into, and together with the client you want to look back and check if you have achieved those things that you have planned to achieve when you were contracting and entering into this coaching relationship. And perhaps mid-term review, because if you have a 12-month coaching program, it's very important that you do a mid-term review so that you can adjust where you need to adjust. And then also enjoy the benefit of sitting with your client as a coach, or sitting with your coach as a client, and really talking about the specifics and say, Coach, this is what we agreed at the beginning of the coaching session. We are halfway now. This is how I feel about it. These are my observations. What do you think? How do you think I'm doing? And then the coach does the same thing. So however, it is practical to have a full coaching without actually meeting. I mean, I've had my MBA students that I'm coaching at the Johannesburg Business School. The entire 8-month session we have never met, because it happened in the middle of COVID. The chemistry session was done virtually. The 8 months program was done virtually. There were 5 of them, and I've done the coaching ending. We have a pending invitation to say, when times allows, we will have a cup of coffee just to get to know each other face to face. So it is practical. The technology is there, the platform is there, and if you are very well trained, believe it or not, you are able to read even the body language using this technology platform like we are using. But one of the qualities of good coaching is to be fully present with your client in the session. And you learn to be fully present using the technology platforms. And so that means now the future for coaches is such that if you are a very good coach, it does not matter whether you're coaching on a technology platform virtually or you're coaching face to face. The impact should be the same.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
But the advantage of the technology is that I can coach anybody from anywhere in the world.
So it's effective, and yeah, it's effective and working. So, Coach, I know that you also do international coaching. How do you? Let's start with the local communities. Besides coaching them on the platform or mentoring them on online, what else do you do for communities?
Sure. I do a lot for communities. COMESA is made up of for-profit and for non-profit organizations. And these non-profit organizations, starting with COMESA Friends and Supporters Club, which is the home of everybody who wants to be associated with us, we offer a lot of our times for free, because the membership is very cheap. It's 280 rands per year for a professional to be part of us and then be available to become the associate of our commercial work. But the biggest focus of our non-profit organization is really to discover talent out there that will otherwise not be discovered because it is not within the corporate setup. I'm purposely not talking about new entrants. I'm talking literally people that have studied, they've qualified, but they've never ever been able to be invited into the world of work. We have a lot of unemployed professionals, graduates, that are not actually included. By becoming part of our non-profit programs, we do see ourselves accelerating the entry of such people into the world of work. Because if I have worked with you, like I've worked with Michael, who's now my administrator, for full 1 year at our monthly Lekgotla that was taking place every Saturday, once a month on a Saturday. For a full year, Michael, as a matric graduate, attended the Lekgotla Little did he know that I was actually observing him every month as he comes to Lekgotla. At the end of the 12-month program, I went to him to say, listen, I want you to come over to my organization. Today, he is my main administrator, and he's doing his second year of degree studies with UNISA, and he's working for me since then. Wow. And now you could almost look at the quality of his degree vis-a-vis somebody that goes full-time and studies to finish degree before he sees the world of work. It's quite something different, you know. Sure. And right now, Michael works full-time from home, and he's studying online with UNISA, and he's servicing my clients virtually. And he is so the things he learns at UNISA, he sees them at work daily.
Yeah.
And when I met him, he was unemployed matriculant graduate and not knowing what to do. My pastor brought him to me and said, man, this guy is very intelligent. Can't you do anything? I said, there's nothing I can do for him now, but he must come and attend a full Lekgotla with us for a full year. The rest is history.
Yeah, I admire his level of commitment. He's doing an awesome work. Yeah, Coach, I've heard you, and I believe that the listeners and the viewers are listening to and taking notes from what you've been teaching us tonight. And before any waste of time, it's the coaching hour with Boitumelo Hlolakai. My name is Khensani Chauke. If you have any comments or you want to ask Coach Sam, please send your questions in the comment sections on Facebook, and then ask questions. We will reply to the questions and the comments that you're making there. So, Coach, how can our listeners and viewers get in touch with you?
I'm all over in the social media platforms. you just go to LinkedIn, you go to Twitter, you go to Facebook, you either put Cometa, as you can see the back here, or you put Sam Zima, you will come across. Alternatively, you can visit our website, which is cometa-goc.com, or drop us a call at the call center at cometa-goc.com. Call center is spelled CALLCENTRE, -goc.com. But otherwise, as I said, if you go onto my LinkedIn page, you will see quite a lot of things we do there, and you can connect with me, and we can take it forward. We are open to welcome coaches who want to collaborate with us. Don't make a mistake. There's a huge shortage of coaches out there. With shortage of coaches in the market, with shortage of good coaches in the market. And I would like to encourage all the coaches, not just to leave it at the qualification level, but to credential themselves, because that's what the international clients are looking for.
Yeah. That's so true. So, Coach, what can you leave our listeners with tonight?
Well, I can leave them with a word of courage to say that it is in times like this that we are expected as coaches to step up and be available for the many people out there that are overwhelmed by the situations that they find themselves in, either in their private life or in their professional life. We are needed to support the process of change and transformation that so many organizations are undergoing, so that they are ready post-pandemic and in the new era of 4IR. So we are demanded to come up and partner with our clients. And make coaching available.
Sure, you are doing such a wonderful work, Coach, and I wish you all the best in your company. You have built yourself a very wonderful legacy that will continue to work and for years and years and years to come. And we are so grateful to have you tonight on our studios, and we are I'm humbled. I'm humbled. I think you know our journey of connecting. It took forever for us to just have and sit down and just have just a normal conversation or a general conversation out of coaching. And I'm so humbled, Coach, to honor the invite and come to teach us. Guys, you have had, he spoke about self-management and self-awareness. It starts with you as a leader. It starts with you as an individual. Whatever that you want to achieve in life is doable if you are building yourself up to it. And as we are going towards the end of the year, what is it that you have? What is it that you have in your vision board? What does your vision board look like? Are you ready to step in by faith in 2022? Are you ready to step in by transformation? Do you still want to be the same person in the new beginning, or do you want to add to what you already have? Are you empowering yourself? Are you equipping yourself enough? Do you have a life coach? Do you have mentors that are mentoring you towards your career, towards your calling, towards your purpose in life? So don't forget to get in touch with Coach Sam whenever you need him. He's on social media, and I will give you further details if you leave your details on the comment section regarding his practice. And tonight, this is the end of the show. And Coach, thank you again for coming. And from me, Khensani Chauke, God bless you. This is the Coaching Hour with Boitumelo. Until we meet again next week, Tuesday, good night from myself. Coach, do you want to say good night to the listeners?
Good night to the listeners, and thank you for having me. I hope we will have another opportunity in the future to unpack this wonderful
Most definitely.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, most definitely, Coach. Good night, listeners, and God bless you. Please take care of yourself, look after your family, eat well, and make sure that you keep on doing that self-development each and every day. And practice emotional intelligence everywhere you go, and be kind at all times. Love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You and me, two in agreement. The best in praise and worship. Zoe Live Radio.